All right, we're back. Sorry about that, you guys. Just wait. Let me see if Pepper is on here. Otherwise, we're just gonna go ahead and get started and see where she goes from there. But yeah, um, like I said before, if you guys want to do any like live videos in the future with me, feel free to message me and stuff like that. As I really do not mind doing that. I just it's hard. Um, Let me see. What are these people? Co-hosts with creators. Invite. There we go. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see.
Hey, 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 y'all. Hey, hey, hey. Leave it to me to be late. Fashionably.
No worries. No worries.
How are you, Riley?
I am doing all right. I cannot complain. There are definitely worse problems in the world. So yeah, I was, just like you're probably gonna wonder why I'm doing this, but throughout the entire video, I'm probably every now and then gonna just bring up that if anybody wants to join this, and they can join, they can send us messages individually, and then we can put them on the top.
Yep, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of sort out who some people are and throughout the live process and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a good Thanksgiving?
For the most part. What about you? It was freezing. It wasn't that cold, but it was pretty cold.
It was.
What about you?
I cannot complain. Like I said, there are worse things that are happening in the world, but it's I was got to spend some time with some good people, but
that's good. Got to be with family. Yeah. That is good. How are things with your garden? I see you took a hit as well.
Yeah, I took a hit, and I even though a lot of people hate when I say this, I'm about as lazy as they come when it comes to gardening. I just kind of just trying to let things happen. Like even the stuff I put in my greenhouse, I was like, all right, let's see if it survives. And then when it happened that day, I was like, well, I guess it didn't. Well, moving on to the next thing. So
Of course, you see my fiasco. I was really heartbroken, burnt out completely. But you know what? I took a page out of your book and I was like, hey, you know what? I wanted to get a lot of stuff in the house. And I made like this space over back here.
Yeah.
I don't know if my dog just got out.
Oof. You want to check that?
1 second.
Well, yeah, you guys. If you guys are just now joining, me and Pepper are kind of talking about just different type of gardening principles and stuff like that, and how the frost affected it.
He's fine. Somebody must be walking past my house. Thank you. But yeah, I was like, I made this space over here. And I found like this cool little shelf, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put this here, I'm gonna put that there. Like I had it all planned out, worked out. I was like, oh, I want to get some lights, some grow lights. I wanted this, I wanted that, all of this cool stuff, right? Yeah. And I thought about it, and I was just like, well, you know what? In the real world outside, like in the real world outside, nobody's there to say, hey, well, this tree gonna die, so let's cut it down and bring it in the house. Nobody is saying, hey, well, this lime tree not gonna make it, so let's cut it off and bring it in the house. So I was just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna do that. If it lasts, it lasts, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like I'm just going to go with the flow, grow it, whatever grows, and whatever does, it doesn't. But what I am going to do this weekend is I want to go through all of that stuff. Everything that has died out, I plan on pulling those weeds or whatever, stems or whatever, putting it in my compost. And I think I'm going to get the dirt that is in, or the soil that is in, and also put that in my compost as well to just mature it up and get it ready for spring.
That's a good plan.
Hey everybody in the chat. Be sure to share this live, guys.
Yeah, so, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Just always trying to turn like a negative into a positive is what I would kind of consider. Yeah, that's not a bad idea if you ask me. Because like that's one thing about like tomatoes and stuff like that. That like those things are annuals, so they're gonna have a hard time. Gonna have a more difficult time. And some trees like my pear tree back here, like it's acclimated to the weather, and that's why I told you it's like part of the thing I have going for me is that I try to like grow perennials and stuff, because like some of the stuff that I'm cutting back, like it's gonna die, but then come straight back in the spring.
Yeah.
Like leaves and stuff, they just hate the cold, but they're gonna still survive regardless. So
yeah,
it's like,
I'm noticing that with my lime tree. Like I have a ton of brown leaves,
yeah,
but the rest of them are still green and it's still thriving. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna let you sit there and see what you do.
yeah.
My pepper tree, the stems, the roots, and everything is still going strong. Of course, all the leaves have dropped, so they're gonna fall off, and then next year they'll come back. My lemongrass is nearly dead. It'll die out, and next year it'll come back. My Thai basil, I was gonna try to harvest seeds off of those, but I don't know how to harvest seeds yet. So I don't think I found them, but I'm assuming that once they dry up some more, the seeds will be there for me to pick. I'll try to do that. If not, it is what it is. But yeah,
it will. You're right about that. Where it's like they will dry up, and sometimes the seeds are just really small. So once you go for them, like I've noticed some seeds, like they will literally look like the size of like a mole, like a mole that's on your face or something.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I've been having to go like this with it to try and get it out to see if it'll pop up in the palm of my hand. Thank you for sharing this live. But I have noticed that like my spearmint doing fantastic, and I wanted to bring it in the house and like put it in my window, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing it. Like I'm not bringing anything in the house. The only thing I have in the house are those two pothos plants, and that's it. I'm not bringing anything in the house except my aloe vera. Now I'm gonna bring my aloe vera in. Right. But everything else, I'm not bringing it in. I have left my greenhouse, like the windows open a little bit so I can still get a little air circulating in there. But other than that, I am not bringing anything in. Everything's going to stay outside because in the real world, these things are in nature and they grow outside in nature. And there's nobody there to say, hey, well, I'm going to pick up all these strawberry trees and bring them in the house. So I'm gonna pick up all these lime trees in the field and bring them in the house. No, everything sits outside. It has its place. It serves its purpose. It either comes back or it dies out and doesn't. Like, I'm just gonna see what's gonna happen. So
I like that mentality because, you know, that's the thing is that it's a lot of people get really stressed out about like gardening and stuff like that. That's why I told you it's like I'm not gonna get stressed out over growing a mango tree that grows in the tropics, or here and just be like in the garden for 6 hours trying to put heaters on and do all this type of stuff.
Yeah,
you know, it's not made to grow here. Maybe I can find a mango that grows here. Now that's a different thing, but it's like that's part of the strategy and stuff like that. Like my spearmint's doing well, my blackberry bush is doing well, my chives are still alive. Like even some stuff like when I was pulling up my the remnants of my sweet potatoes, I started finding more sweet potatoes. I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Well, that's awesome.
And then I'm also finding a lot of volunteer plants. Like I'm getting a lot of volunteer stuff that's in my compost bin. I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is, but we're gonna see. Even my tomato plant, Big Bertha. Big Bertha had another baby or whatever to just sprout in there. I don't know where it come from, how it got there, but that's growing. Now Big Bertha died, but that is growing. So I'm just like, okay, well, all in all, we're just gonna go with the flow. And it took me like maybe 4 days because I was so devastated. Like, oh my God, everything died. Oh my God. But
you spend that much time on it,
yeah.
You know?
First timer is to be expected. A lot of people were saying, hey, you know, get a heater in there. And it's just like, I love gardening. I love this journey. I like it so far. I'm enjoying it. It's teaching me a lot about myself as far as patience and whatnot. But I don't feel like I need to be putting heaters out and I need to be putting, you know, blankets out for the plants and all this. And it's just like, I just do not need something else to be stuck out here doing. It's dark at 5:14 in zone 8B. Like, I don't want to be out here doing that.
No, that's why I told you. It's like that's how I've kind of gotten recently, where I've just kind of gotten to the point where I've just been like, I'm making a food forest. So regardless, it's all this stuff's gonna thrive. Like my blackberry bush has been snowed on, my oregano has been snowed on. So many different things have been snowed on and survived. Whereas like last year, I was putting up tents and stuff like that. I was trying to keep water, like big buckets of water, because water helps regulate because it's harder to freeze. So it'll like regulate the temperature. And I spent like 2 or 3 hours out like every day or every 2 days just trying to keep that alive just for them to die in January. And it was like, like in January, I was just like I've been doing this every day. And I was like, oh man, there's another 4 months of this. Like there still might be a freeze in April. Like I got to do this. Like if it snows, like, and then one day we got like this surprise snowstorm and then it was like, well, dang. everything's dead now. So so now I'm just like, no, I'm gonna put in the effort that I want to put in, and if I'm gonna try to find like different varieties that are made to grow here. Like I grow asparagus. My asparagus stays alive regardless. It develops a root system, and once it develops a root system, it's good. That's it. I don't care. Yeah, but I'm not gonna spend extra time. Now, my annuals and stuff, I think that'll be cool, like changing that every year and stuff like that. But I'm really trying to find like different perennials that I can do that won't do it. Like right now, that's one of the things that I'm kind of getting into, where I'm going back. I even just posted a YouTube video for today where I'm like talking about like me just preparing my garden, and that's going to be like a series of videos where I'm just going to just start chunking stuff out the garden, asking people for help. That's another thing I love about the community that we're fostering, is that you can ask people for help, and people be like, that don't do this, do that, don't do this. Oh, you should do that with that stuff. And it's like, I'm adding some stuff to the compost. I'm repurposing some soil, and getting ready. Like, think about it. You doing this now is going to make you more ready for the spring.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and I feel like with trying to build a community or develop a community, I get so much help and advice from gardeners across TikTok. Like, it's ridiculous. And it amazes me and it blows me a lot. And it's just like, I don't even know these people. And everybody is pitching in like, no, do this, try this, try that. And a lot of it is always good help. And it's just any advice is good advice. I don't care if it's constructive criticism or whatever it is, like everything is good advice. And it's just like, just to see so many people come out and support or just want, you to be better or want to help you and, lead you, guide you anywhere. And it's just like, you meet so many beautiful souls. Like, I love it.
No, and that's the one thing that's beautiful about it too, is they're like, I'm not trying to build a community of just people that are like, I want feedback. You can tell me I'm doing something wrong and stuff like that, but I'm not asking for people to be mean. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm just saying I'm going to study as much as I can, but maybe someone else has had an experience with this plant that they know of, and they can kind of shed some light on this type of stuff, like the tomatoes and stuff like that. Like, tomatoes would have kept producing for a couple months, but at a certain point, they die naturally. That's just it. They aren't made to last for years. They are made, like most plants, and like you hear about this about some bugs and insects, where as soon as they reproduce, like, they will die because that's just what their life cycle.
We have some of those here. I don't know what they're called. I call them together bugs. They're black and they have like red faces or nose or something like that. And I call them together bugs because they're literally always like this stuck. And after the male finished his due, he died off. Like, he dies. And it's just like, wow, what a hard life. You survived all your life to get one little oompa in, and boom, you die. So,
that's the thing about cicadas, too. Cicadas will do the same thing. Like, they'll be in the ground for like 7 years.
And then come up. That's crazy.
Come up, reproduce, and then that's it.
Go back in the room.
That's just how some nature works. And that's one of the things I was telling you, like, that's one thing I noticed last year when I was trying to keep some plants alive, where I was just like, should I even be trying to if they're going to still die in a couple months anyway?
Yeah. So that was one of my things, and that's what I've learned. And I had to actually sit back and find the beauty in that, because like I said, I was hurt. I was tore to pieces. I walked in there after 2 days, and I tried to take off of my garden, because it's just like, you can go in your garden, you can get lost, and you can just get stuck in there. And it's like, you don't even have to be doing anything. But for me, like, I would go in my garden, I would be in there talking to my plants, singing to my plants, just minding my own business, checking on everything, taking notes on this, taking notes on that. And it's like, it's easy to just let time get away from you and get caught in there. And then between my garden and then the dogs outside and then kids running around. So I was just like, you know what? For Thanksgiving, it's about family. I'm just going to go out here and water them in the morning. And then it got cold. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to close it. I'm going to leave a crack, but I'm going to close it because it's too cold. And I was like, well, I'll be dog. Everybody was like, well, you should put some like frost, like plastic and frost protection and or put a heater in there. And I got a lot of good advice from a lot of gardeners from all over, and everybody is doing all these incredible things. And it's just like, I cannot commit myself to doing that, because eventually the goal for me is to homestead, which means, like you said, a fruit forest or food forest. And it's just like, I'm not going out here to climb the pear tree to cut the top so that they can keep. No, if it's out here and it's in nature, it's going to do what it's going to do anyway. So that's where we are with that. And I took a hit. I cried about it. I cried about it. I was sad about it for 4 days. I'm talking about 4 days. I was down, Riley. I was down for 4 days. And I was just like, hey, you know what? Okay, now you gotta come up with a backup plan. So the backup plan is we're gonna get this stuff out. We're gonna put it over in this composting tote. We're gonna repurpose this soil. And I was just like, well, where do I put the soil? Where do I put the dirt? How am I gonna repurpose it? And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna put it in the bin with the rest of the compost stuff, give it a good mix, and let it do what it do for the next 3-4 months. And by the time spring come, I'm gonna have some of the best, richest soil that I can find. This is gonna be soil gold that I can find, and everything is going to be doing good. Now, I still do have cabbages. My cabbages are doing really, really well, but of course, they sustain the cold weather, so they're fine. They're doing good. My chili pepper tree, I don't know if that is an annual or not. I think it is, because everything on there died out, so I cut it. Like, I cut all the dead leaves and all the dead stuff, and it done started growing back. Like, it literally started to grow back. I have not even watered it. I don't remember the last time I've watered it. So I'm just like, hey, well, okay, do what you do. I don't think I've watered my garden as much since. I maybe have watered once. And when I watered it, I had gave it fertilizer that time. And I was like, talking to him like, hey, y'all, come back to me, because plants are not living human beings, but they're living, breathing beings. So they can still feel that energy, and they do exist. And I had that conversation with him, and I was like, listen, I know y'all miss me and I miss y'all. Just come on back to me. I'm your mom. Come back to me, whatever. And I don't know. Like, I left it at that, and I have not watered it again. But I did go and check on there 2 days ago, and that's when I noticed that the chili pepper tree was coming back. I still had some Thai basil thriving in there. Big Bertha's little baby is still thriving. And I was just like, oh, that's odd. That's crazy. Like, it's colder now than it was before, and y'all out here surviving. Like, why would you do that to me? Why would you have me crying? Like, and now you still want to survive? So, yeah.
Well, it just makes it that much easier for you, And that's what I told you. It's like, there's no point. Like, I spent time in the garden last year, and it's like you said, you had family over for Thanksgiving, you had kids, you had dogs moving around and stuff like that. Those are more important. Those are definitely more important to spend your time with and stuff like that, as opposed to you spending like 3 months trying to keep plants alive that to no avail. Like, it'd be one.
It's gonna die anyway. It's like
no, exactly. It'd be one thing if you kept them alive and they were gonna stay alive through the next year or something like that. But no, that's why I told you. Like, when it comes to my food forest, I'm growing stuff that can withstand this type of weather. That can withstand this stuff. And if I have to do like some watering and stuff like that, cool. But sometimes they just have dormant periods.
Yeah, that's right. But everything is a lesson or a blessing, and I look at it as a lesson and a blessing. Either way, you are going to become more experienced and gain something from it, or you're going to have a blessing and a lesson and you produce something from it. So a win is a win. So yeah, that's how I've been looking at it.
Yeah, but I do so that's why I say, like, if you do have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me. Or if you do have some things like you're growing, like, just try to, like, that's one thing I love about YouTube and like TikTok, is that you're just being able to keep updated. Like, you'll be surprised how many people will be like, oh, I see you did this from last time. Make sure you don't keep that in. Make sure you don't keep that in. You're just like, okay, cool. So you got someone kind of guiding you there.
Or people that have experience with growing the same stuff that you're growing. It's like, oh, well, I did this and it did like that. So maybe you want to try this. And it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, that works. Mm-hmm.
No, I literally had somebody, I had an old video in my drafts because I've been trying to just get my drafts down because I have too many videos in there. And I was talking to them where I was just like, so what ate at my like tomato at this time of the year? Some people, like, so many people had like great suggestions. They were like, oh, you should do this, or it might be that, or you might have to watch out for that. And I'm just like, okay, that makes sense. I'm glad that somebody actually was able to like give me that idea.
The feedback, to help that, yeah. And I love it.
Because like back in the old days, like some people, if they lost a crop, they just lost the crop, and we just got to study it, try to figure it out. If there's some new disease, it might be months before we find out,
And that's the beauty about gardening in today's society now, with having so many people all over the world that's gardening. Because you may have somebody in Arkansas that used to live in Tennessee and they've tried this and they've done this, so they know. Or even if they live in Florida and they're gardening and you live in Alabama, it's just like, okay, well, they experienced this. So who knows? It may be something to help you later on down the line. So I love that. That's the beauty about gardening for me. But it also teaches you a lot of patience. And it's a journey. And like I said, it's a lesson in all of it. Like once everything died and I was able to go back out there, I literally had to just sit down and, kumbaya and soak it in. I had to say, okay, well, this died during this time, but it lived this long and it produced this much. So clearly this is the time frame that it can last. This is the time frame that is going to survive. Anything outside of that, we're going to have a problem. And I'm not open to putting heaters out here and putting covers out here and going to pick up pine straw to put out here and just all this extra wild, insane stuff. Like, I'm not doing that. If I was a plant living in the middle of nowhere, and there's nobody else around, nobody is going to come pick me up and say, hey, well, it's too cold for her to be out here. We're just going to put her in the house. Nobody's going to do that. So because nobody's going to do that, you have to have that mindset with going in the gardening, but to not give up. And then also the beauty in it is being able to sit and say, well, I tried something new. I didn't think I was going to be able to do this, but I tried it and then it produced. Like, I had no idea that I would grow so many tomatoes from actual tomato seeds. I literally got a tomato and just crushed it like this and put it in the dirt and it grew so many tomatoes. I got peppers and did that and put it in a Jello shot cup and got some dang thumbtacks and poked holes all over it with a little bit of soil in there to just water it. And I made a window raised garden bed out of 2 plastic coffee cups and a plastic knife. And I set it on top of there. And it's just like, it grew. So at least you get the experience to say, hey, well, I did this way and it grew that way. And then it survived this long through this time period. And that is the beauty behind it. Just to be able to study that type of stuff, I really enjoy that.
No, that's a really good point too. And yeah, that's one of the things. That's why I like whenever someone tells me like, hey, I can't garden, I can't do anything. I'm just like, no, it's easier than you think. Like, you just gotta be patient with it. You're not gonna get tomatoes overnight, but waiting. If it doesn't work out, trying to do some other things. Like, especially when it comes to seeds, like starting like 7 or 8 different plants and then seeing it. Like, if you start one seed, like that seed might not be viable, but you're gonna hate yourself and think you can't grow anything. But you grow multiple different ones, then you'll be able to see like maybe
somebody's gotta make it. Yeah. I think I did that with my cantaloupes. Like, I got a ton of cantaloupe pieces. Dang. No, we took the guts out of the cantaloupes and we just put them down in dirt. And my son was like, I want to put this one here. And then I was like, no, son, listen, just throw it in there, stir it up with a spoon or something. Get a toothpick or something, just stir it up and then just throw some more dirt on it. And let's get it out and see what it does. And then I want to say like within a week's time, it was like a ton of flowers. So yeah, and I really try to encourage people when they say they can't garden or they don't know where to start or whatever, just pick up something and start. Get you something, put it in the dirt and just let it do what it do. And I promise you it's easier than you may think it is. It's easier than it seems. It's not that hard and you will be successful. You will come out on top with it. You just got to try. Like, if you cannot grow something, it's because you're not trying. But there's no such thing as you can't grow something because you just can't grow it. No, you're just not trying.
Yeah, exactly. And some people, they just don't understand it. They just need a bit more patience when it comes to that too. Because some people, if you try to grow a mango tree, like I was saying earlier, you try to grow a mango tree down here, especially this time of year, it's not growing. It's just not growing.
And they're not gonna take forever. Like, mangoes take like maybe 3, at minimum 3 to 7 years. So it's just like, you cannot be expecting to get that overnight or that's happened overnight. Which was why I got my lime tree. And I was like, hey, cool. Like, I got one big lime like this big off of it. And then everything else was like teeny tiny like that. But it was just like, hey, it is what it is. It does what it does. Clearly it's alive. It's producing something. So, hey, it's fine. Hey, Chris, be sure to share this live.
So what specific measures would you use to prepare for the freeze next time, if there are any? Would you do anything different? Would you grow anything different? What would you do?
No, I don't think I would do anything different or grow anything different because, like I said, when everything died, I went in there and I did make that journal. And it was just like, hey, well, I got this on this day, or I started this on this day, and it grew from this day to this day, or it was fine from this season to this season. But around this time, it's going to die. If the temperatures are regulated to be this much, it's going to die. Like, I don't think I am, or I ever will be, in a sense to just say, hey, well, I just want to bring all this in the house. Now, kudos to everybody who overwinter their things and get it in the house and do the little heat lamps and have the closet set up all pretty, and you have like your little meditation corner where you can go in there and do all your growing and all your gardening in your house. I love that for you. I'm not telling you to not do that. So everybody out there who doing that, kudos to you. Good job. But me personally, that's just not something that I want to do. Like being a, full on mom, full on hands mom with 3 kids and 3 dogs, and I had 3 neon tetra fish, but one passed away. Like that's just not something that I can see myself dedicating my time to. Like I still want to be able to balance working, wifing, momming, gardening. Like everything has to be able to balance out. So I don't think I could ever see myself taking away from everybody else and everything else to just dedicate and say, hey, well, it's winter. I need to put up more tents, or I need to get heaters, or I need to make more space to bring this stuff in. Like I don't want to have to do that.
What about like what would you do in the future? I thought I could debate it, like growing like some winter stuff. Like you said, your cabbage was doing well, like it's still doing good. Like I know this is a great time to plant garlic. I harvested some garlic this year because I got it in the ground, but like this is a great time to put garlic in the ground. Is there anything that you would like do either next year?
I actually have some garlic cloves that I need to get in the ground because garlic takes typically 9 months ish to produce. So now would be the perfect time. Yeah. Now would be the perfect time to actually get some of those in the ground. But I may do that this weekend more than likely because I need to clean some stuff out. But I got to get rid of that stuff that's in there to put it in. I've had luck with my carrots. I pulled out maybe 3 or 4 carrots. And they weren't huge. They were maybe this big, but I feel like for a first time gardener, that was a lot to me. That did it for me. I was skeptical on doing collards and cabbages, so I just opted for cabbage instead of collards. I did not think the cabbage would make it that long, but I definitely dreaded collards, and I was just like, I can't do it. But then I was like, okay, I'm gonna try something, and I got the cabbages and got those in. And I was like, well, dang, I should have went ahead and did collards too, but I didn't. Other than that, I think for next winter, I do want to try to get more herbs out. Thyme, parsley, spearmint, peppermint. That'll be my go-to. I may put some. No, you harvest potatoes now, right?
Yeah. I harvest potatoes and sweet potatoes right now, but you kind of just harvest them like a couple weeks ahead of this,
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I think it's nothing. I would probably just do more herbs. Per se next winter, because I know that stuff will sustain and it'll grow over. It'll be growing during that passing period. So I think that'll be better for me. But as far as talking about like trying to get something to actually come up and produce, and it's just like, whoa, magical. Yeah, I don't think so.
I do have a radish plant that's still growing right now. The soil isn't like good enough for it to actually produce properly, but like the leaves are producing, and so I'm wondering if I can just start like moving to a different pot and harvest some leaves and keep it watering. And see, I don't know if you've heard of anybody like eating radish leaves or anything, but
I've never eaten a radish before ever. I just know it's like this purple little ball looking thing that kind of looks like a rustic potato. I've never eaten it. So do you typically grow things that you eat, or you just grow a variety of things, just whatever?
I grow whatever.
And you know what? That's my thing. I honestly feel like had I owned my home, then that would be my go-to. But because I don't per se own my home, I don't want to put stuff in the ground that, whenever I decide to leave and go buy a house somewhere, then I can't take this stuff with me. Like, because I'd be damned if I grow a whole food forest back here and then I move out and go buy a house, and then whoever moving this house have all my hard work and dedication. No. And I feel like stuff like that would do really, really good in containers, which is why I do a lot of container gardening. But I don't want it to be too much to where I'm overwhelmed. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm hoarding everything. And it's just too much stuff here in this closed container apartment. I need to move. And I typically only garden on those little DIY raised beds that are in my greenhouse. Outside of that little area right there in the middle, I don't garden anywhere else. I may put something on my back porch, but predominantly I don't go there because my dog typically runs around through there, and the kids are playing basketball back over through there or playing football all in the yard. So it's just like, hey, this is my little one area. This is my little corridor. And I try to keep it in that area, but I don't think I want to have too many containers to where it's just like, okay, what did I plant right here again? What is this? I tried to do the tower and put like tape names on it so that I knew what it was, because for some garden I had no idea what all this stuff was. I could not tell you the difference between a cilantro and oregano at all. And I was just like, yeah, everything in here got to go. Although I think it probably was cilantro that grew up, I don't think oregano has ever been good to me. But I could not tell the difference between the two. And if that was cilantro, it didn't last long, so it got butted out anyway. But I definitely am going to prepare to try and get more herbs and stuff out for next winter. What is something that you would per se add new? Because I know you just garden everywhere, and it's just like, hey, well, I don't care if I eat it or not, I'm gardening.
Well, and that's the thing too about the container garden is like sometimes I do start container gardens just because I don't know what I want to do. Like say I grew like a carrot and I was like really happy at the how it produced, but like it just tasted terrible, you know? Like I'm not gonna put that back in the ground, you know? Like so sometimes it's just like when I say I grow whatever, I just kind of, you know, if I have some seeds, if I want to do this, like I just like for my tomatoes, like I just harvested some tomatoes for my cherry tomatoes and Roman tomatoes because I know that they have all the recipe for this climate and stuff like that. So I'm harvested those seeds and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, so in the spring when I put these in the ground, they'll already be like tolerant of the Memphis weather and the cold, and a bit more tolerant of the cold and stuff like that, and they'll produce more because they're used to this environment. But I definitely am going to try to see if I can get my ginger and turmeric to grow pretty well. I have some stuff that I brought inside. Some stuff that I'm bringing inside, I'm bringing in sand. And like, so I have some sweet potatoes and some turmeric that I'm growing in sand right now. So that's been pretty interesting. I'm probably going to try to see if I can grow some of my ginger in some sand as well, because like a lot of bugs hate trying to go through sand because it's like shards of glass to them. So like I definitely gonna try to see that, but I think I might honestly like get on some garlic, like you said, because this would be the perfect time to get it in the ground. And I think like outside of that, I'm just gonna try to like really take care of the garden, try to get everything ready for the spring, and just take my time with it, just enjoy the process, enjoy being outdoors. Because I don't know, I like the cold time of the year too. So
yeah. I feel like this is the best time, honestly. With so many holidays back to back, I'm actually looking forward to being able to just live in the moment and woosah and just be able to spend time with family and kids and my husband and my coworkers and everybody, and not have to worry about or focus on gardening. Now, completely honest, we listen and we don't judge. Don't judge me. I have absolutely no seeds. I don't have a single seed prepared for next season. But I have noticed that a lot, I can grow some stuff out of seeds, but I have noticed that a lot of times when I put seeds in, it's very, very, very rare that I actually get those seeds that are produce or, fruit, vegetable, whatever, to produce anything. Now, if I throw some flower seeds out, I'm getting flowers, no problem. But as far as talking about fruit, produce stuff, no. So typically a lot of that stuff, I just get it from the grocery store, smash it up in my hand, put it in some dirt, and let it do what it does.
Well, that's why it's like, that's one thing I will say about like if you grow something in your garden or grow like the stuff that you like get in the garden and stuff like that stuff will do well. Like, and once you get some fruit, like even just trying to save like 1 or 2 seeds from that, like the plant will do its best to try to give like that fruit the best chance to survive. That's why you said you had like little baby plant kind of coming out. Like it's because it's like, all right, it's passed on. Everything was like, hey, it gets cold this time of year. It gets hot this time of year. There's going to be less water this time of year. So it tries to like adhere to that. And that's one thing why it's like, I even like going to farmers markets for that reason. Cause there'll be people in this area who are growing that stuff. And so it's like those seeds, once you eat those fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, you take those seeds out. Those seeds are like,
now that is what that's what I was gonna say. That is what I've done. Like a lot of the stuff that I've grown, like my tomatoes, my cucumbers. Like I actually grew a cucumber from a cucumber that I planted, and got the seeds out of there. We literally cut a piece of cucumber, put it in about 4 or 5 little dices, and we put that in some dirt, and it grew from there. So as far as like my next season, I'm probably going to try and get out to some farmers markets and then get some of those fruit because that stuff has sustained, so it will do good. But yeah. That is where I am with it.
No, I completely understand with it too, and that's another thing where it's just like even don't feel bad that you haven't like produced those things. I mean, like saved any seeds. Thank you. But like don't feel bad about it. Each year is just a new challenge. Each year you're just doing something different. Just try to just like learn to document. You said you're doing like you have a journal. Just try to keep a journal going. Just do the best you can. That's all you really have to worry about. And if you don't do something this year, then you learn for next year. It's just like you were talking about with the garden. Like you want to spend time with your family, you want to spend time with that stuff. Like set your priorities. There's a different garden that you can make work for everything. So it's like, but if you want to make a garden where you have to spend 6 hours every day in it, okay.
Kudos to you. But no.
Good for you. But like if you want to have a garden where in the winter, like my oregano, I don't take care of it. My spearmint, I don't have to take care of it. My peppermint, I don't have to take care of it. There's so many things in my garden right now that I don't have to take care of. And there's so many things that died. But primarily the stuff that I like my oregano's been around for 3 years. My other stuff, like it, as long as you kind of make sure, like, and sometimes when it comes to pots, you have to do a little bit more like fertilizer and stuff like that. But like, as long as they are like, I have those type of plants, I don't mind. That means if I want to make a pizza, I can just go out to my yard and just like cut a couple things and stuff like that. That's all I'm good for. And like, when it comes to this pear tree behind me, I'm gonna try to actually look up information, ask for people to give me advice on it of just like trimming it back, because I noticed that there was like extra stuff and extra like baggage it was taking on because of the extra weight and the improper growing technique that it was implementing. So that'll be a fun little project, and that's not something where it's like, oh, I have to have this done by the end of the week. Like the garlic, that's probably something I need to have in the ground within the next 2 weeks, or if not, I probably
definitely gonna have some garlic in the ground this weekend, like for sure, because I know for a fact that I'm planting, and I don't know how much garlic I'm gonna plant or how much garlic I'm gonna put down, but I'm gonna put down a lot. I do have some ginger, but I don't know if I can actually like get the ginger and like cut pieces of it up and then put that in the ground. Like, can I do that?
You can't do that with ginger. And also when it comes to ginger does not like the cold. It's straight tropical. But if you wanted to, I would say look up. You probably have to let like those parts that you cut it down like dry first before you do anything, before you actually stick it, or else it'll get a bacterial infection. And I would say let it dry and then put it in some sand. Okay. In regard to the question, what zone are y'all in? I am in 7B8A. What about you, Pepper? Do you know yours?
I am in 8B. So okay. I think I did pretty good I started gardening. Like I said, I started gardening this year on Mother's Day. So for 8 months strong, I did really, really good. And I feel like I've overcome a lot, and that right there was huge in itself, to be able to grow things for more than half the year. So to be able to take 4 months off to say, hey, well, I'm gonna spend time with family, or I'm gonna spend time prepping or preparing or doing whatever, or just getting this stuff done, it really works for me. A win is a win. There's a lot of holidays back to back. We have Christmas, as you can see. We have a lot going on back here. Thank you. So just to be able to have that, and then you got New Year's, and then you got, Valentine's and all this stuff. And then boom, when it comes back around to St. Patty's Day, then we are back here able to grow again. And I'm looking forward to that. But I'm also looking forward to be able to spend time with family and everybody and just be able to take off and just focus a little bit on that with doing like the minimum when it comes to gardening. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, love. I'm really looking forward to that, and I enjoyed that. And yeah, I love the fact that it's a lesson, because I'm able to grow these, figure this out, learn this, and then also start over. But then it also gives me time to just it also gives me time to like just be able to kumbaya and just reset and realign and say, hey, well, I learned X, Y, and Z. So next time we do X, Y, and Z, and we have it going X, Y, and Z. I really love that. I enjoy that. And I just enjoy being able to watch everywhere else grow. At first I was bitter about it, and I was just like, curse you. But now it's just like, oh my God, you're still growing these. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Yeah, that didn't happen for me. My stuff died, but good for you. Yeah. and just be able to learn from them. And it's a community that's huge. It's bigger than I could have ever imagined. And I love being able to chat with gardeners from all over and just learn something new and watch the beauty of and the magic, everything that happens. Like, and then you turn around and then you just meet these really incredible people like Riley. And then you make these really good blends with all these gardeners that teach you a lot of stuff, like Riley, and you learn, like his name says, learn with me. You learn with Riley. I'm telling you, you learn and you get it, and you get to take that stuff and to carry you so far. Like, I promise you, when I first started gardening, your TikTok was one of the first TikTok pages that I came across. And you really actually inspired me to garden, because I was just like, oh,
I'm happy. It's not that hard. It's not as hard.
And I'm going to tell you what really got me. What is that? We talked about it last time. The stuff that you're growing or that's growing by your driveway.
It is oregano and lemon.
I was just like, my first thing was, I know you lying. He running oregano? Bought a car and exhaust and it didn't die? Oh, if he doing that, I know I shouldn't have a problem with gardening.
Yeah, exactly.
And for labs, my husband got me an aloe vera plant, and he was like, yeah, you can't kill this. And I was like, little do you know, baby, this is the 4th aloe plant, but I'm gonna be quiet. But my aloe plant is going strong after 8 months. It is doing its due diligence. And it went from there to getting a tomato plant and getting cucumbers and getting okra and getting lavender and getting rosemary and all this stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like something that started as some towers, and I spent maybe $20 on like some potting soil from Dollar General, a couple of towers from Dollar General, a couple of rocks, because I was like, oh, I want it to be all cutesy and whatnot, and a stake from the hardware store. And I was just like, that is crazy. It literally started with about $25, $30. And look at me now. I'm a whole greenhouse in. Like, so yeah, I just really, really, really enjoy that. And I really enjoy meeting new people and meeting gardeners. And somebody should put together like a garden expo so we can all just get up, and it's just like, oh, well, you're from zone 1C and you from 9D and you're from 7A and everybody is just out there, and it's just like, okay, well, tell me something interesting that you grew in. What do you want to do, and how do you want to grow this, and what is your plans for the future? Like, I really think somebody should put it together, but not me, because I don't have the patience to do all that. But I would definitely attend.
Well, we'll try to get that going. I'll see what I can do, and like I can't promise it'll be done tomorrow, but we'll try to see if we can get that going and foster a community over the next couple weeks, months, if not years, and just eventually where it's like, because gardening is like a lifelong thing, so I definitely think it'll be something that would be appreciated if we could get it going.
Yeah,
I have like another 5 minutes here. I have another 5 minutes, so after that, I have one more question, and then we can kind of wrap it up after that. So let me
question.
What advice would you give to new gardeners with similar weather challenges? Because like I learned from you too. I learned from everybody, so I can't. I'm the
some advice that I would give to somebody new coming in gardening with this weather is do what works for you. You will not know unless you try. Either it is going to thrive or it's going to die. And if it thrives, then great. And if it dies, pull it up, throw it in the compost bin, and pick you something else. It didn't work for you. You do you something else. Something that may work for somebody in 8A may not work for somebody in 8B. So just do what you can do, what works best for you. What about you?
Yeah, mine is kind of along the same lines, where I'm just kind of like, there's different things that like don't be so quick to consider yourself a bad gardener just because you didn't have grow, you didn't have dad grow. Like, try to just take it one step at a time. Try not to overwhelm yourself. When it comes to the winter, like, see if you can try to get something growing in the winter, but the winter's like by proxy like a more difficult time of the year to grow things. So like, keep your head up when it comes to that sort of stuff. Like, you're inspiring for the sheer fact that you said that you had, like, it really affected you. I saw in the video that it really affected you when you posted about it. So, like, the fact that you were able to bounce back this quickly, like, there's other problems in the world. there's different things that like people like there's people losing their life, there's people that are just dealing with different types of adversity and stuff like that. And it's like, you know what, I just had a couple plants die. I can't really complain. I can't say that my life is ruined because of this type of thing. I'm just gonna keep going out there and I'm gonna keep trying my best.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that is where I am with it. Like you said, there are other things going on. Like, I lost all my plants and stuff, but better luck next time. My freaking dog is eating up underground electric fencing. So it's just like, listen, I cannot deal with this right now. I need to go tend to this. The last thing my kids need to do is come home and it's a dog outside that's unalive. Like I just cannot. So yeah.
Well, yeah, it was great talking to you today.
Same here.
We'll definitely have to coordinate this next time. And if for everybody that's watching, if you guys want to do this again, like join us again, just feel free to message either me or Pepper. Show some support in our comments. You know, if you need advice or anything, we will do our best to kind of help you out with what the knowledge that we know in our area. Like I said, if you guys want to join this next live with us, where you're not just necessarily spectating, you just make a message out and we'll make sure to include you and send an invite out next time because we don't do it during the actual video. So, Pepper, thank you for joining me. And
thank you for having me. Thank you for putting this together so that we can link. We definitely have to keep this roll going. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed chit-chatting. I really enjoyed being able to see you again, Rye. And until next time, everybody.
Yeah. See you next time.
All righty.